everybody, it's Chris E's, known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. I wanted to start this week by following up on the last episode and that terrible Animal Crossing gift box full of bootleg crap. So I went back on Amazon and left an extremely negative review, joining all the other extremely negative reviews of people who are like, what the actual hell was this that you sent me, with a carrot blanket. It's of course not available anymore because they've moved on, because you know they're clearly super shady and they're trying to, like, they create a new listing, they sell a bunch of stuff, and then as the negative reviews pile up they probably shut it down and move on to another one, because if people see the negative reviews they won't buy it. So I know that it was, you know, shouting into the wind, but I had to write my negative review anyway. And then of course I did actually look into getting a refund. Unfortunately, because it's not Amazon, they're like, oh, we'll contact the seller and see if they'll give you a refund. And very quickly I got a notification, I got an email back saying, okay, they've approved your refund request, just mail this back to them and they'll refund your money. And I'm like, what? So I look at the mailing label that they sent, and it's some weird Chinese address, so I'm like, how much is that going to cost me? Because I've got to pay for the shipping. And I basically just decided it's not worth it, because clearly these people are super shady, and I don't trust that I'm going to spend whatever I'm going to spend to ship this box to China, and then I don't trust that they'll actually say, okay, we've received it and here's your refund. They'll be like, oh, we never got it, oh, and I'll see nothing, and then I'll be out the money I spend on the box, I'll be out the money I paid for the shipping, and then I won't even have the bootleg merchandise anymore anyway. So I just decided, you know what, not going to try to return it. I'll just suck it up, call it lesson learned, and no more impulse COVID buying. To keep the complaining going for just a little while longer, I want to mention that I think I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, that I pulled out my old Rock Band guitar controller to play a little bit of Rock Band on my Xbox One. Except it's been a little tricky because, you know, my Xbox One, since it's just a dust collector at this point, it needs updates, and, you know, I had trouble getting it to connect to the controller, and it's always some kind of issue. I have continued to try to play Rock Band over the past couple weeks, and literally every time I try to play Rock Band, there is some kind of problem. Either my Xbox One won't connect to the internet, and I have to reboot it, at which point it says, oh, hey, now I'm connected to the internet, and I see that you need another update. Even though we just updated the system a couple of days ago, there's another one. And so it's either a system update, it won't connect to the internet, and I have to reboot it, or it won't connect to the controller, and I have to reboot it, or there's constant updates. Like, I spend more time with the updates, looking at that update screen, than I do playing games on my Xbox One. Like, and it's really bad, because not only does it have to download the update, it has to verify the update, and then install the update. There's 3 sections, and for whatever reason, verifying the update takes as long as it does to download and then install it. The whole thing takes like a good 20 minutes. It's really obnoxious. And it won't do it in the background, like the PlayStation does, even though I have it set to download in the background. It just won't. I don't know why, because I also have it set for instant on, where it's meant to download in the background and then just come on. And yes, technically the instant on my Xbox One will just pop on. I don't have to wait for loading screens and logos and things. The Xbox One does just come on and say, hey, welcome back, Chris. And I'm like, hey, great to be back, except it won't let me jump back into my game. And I looked around online for that, and it turns out that there's a bunch of Xbox One games, it's game specific, whether it lets you jump back into the game as well. So the instant on only applies to the console, not the game, necessarily. And I guess Rock Band is not one of those games, because I have to keep reloading the game every time. And then sometimes it won't connect to my controller. One time, it decided to disconnect from the guitar controller while I was playing a song. Rude. Oh, another one that I enjoy is after I've, like, rebooted the console, downloaded the update, synced my guitar controller, got everything ready, I try to open Rock Band again, and then it's like, you know, I can't read this disc. Check and see if it's scratched or dirty. And I'm like, bitch, if this disc is scratched, it's your fault, because I never eject it. Rock Band is literally the only thing I play on my Xbox One anymore, so it's your fault if it's scratched. And the only time that I ever eject the Rock Band disc from my Xbox One console is when I'm resetting it, because it isn't dirty or scratched, and I just have to eject it and put it back in again to make my Xbox One go, oh, okay, I can read this now, that's fine. And then I can play some Rock Band. But it was also very telling to me that I was more willing to go through all this rigmarole just to play a handful of Rock Band songs instead of playing Yakuza. Because as I have mentioned in previous episodes, I wasn't really taking to Yakuza. And after over a week of like not wanting to play Yakuza or not even thinking about Yakuza, I thought maybe it was time to move on. Because if a game is good, like, as you might recall, when I was flying through Spider-Man Miles Morales, I would sit down and I would play Spider-Man Miles Morales for hours on end. And then when I wasn't playing Spider-Man Miles Morales, I was thinking about when can I next play Spider-Man Miles Morales. That's a good game. With Yakuza, I wasn't thinking, ooh, I can't wait to play Yakuza. And then when I had time to play games, I was like, nah, I'll play Rock Band instead and deal with my annoying Xbox One. That's not a good sign. So I basically just said, you know what, forget it. And I deleted Yakuza Kiwami from my PlayStation, and I moved on to Uncharted 2, which I've never played. But I played the first one because when I bought my PlayStation 4, it came with this disc containing all 3 Uncharted games. I also had the 4th one because it was a PlayStation Plus game, so that's in my library as well, so I can play that too. But I enjoyed the first Uncharted, and I remember, I think the general consensus was that 2 was like the best one, and 3 was a slight step down and a little disappointing. I don't remember what they said about 4, I think it was good though. But yes, it's enjoyable, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm already like enjoying it. And it's funny to me though, because it's occurring to me as I play Uncharted, is that it's really linear. You know, it's not even like it's like the old Tomb Raider games, because it's not like the new Tomb Raider games where they give you an area, a whole area to go around and explore, and they sort of guide you for the story, but you can always jump back and go to other areas and find other things and get other treasures and whatever. The Uncharted games are like stupid linear, and it's way more linear than Yakuza, because at least with Yakuza you had that city that you could just wander about and find side quests and things, although I was never inclined to wander about to find side quests, because wandering about the city gets you into more fights with random street gangs, and it was just, I just want to go from point A to point B, and I don't want to have to fight every block. It was just getting really tedious and annoying. Here, it's even more linear, because they're just like, find your way from point A to point B, and kill a bunch of people along the way, and whatever. But somehow, I don't mind the linearness. I think because there's the ratio of gameplaying to watching cutscenes is a lot different than Yakuza, which was like 80% cutscenes and 20% gameplay. Here it's like the reverse. It's mostly gameplay with a little cutscene here and there. I also enjoy, even though it's linear, like you're in like the jungle and it's like, okay, how do I get from point A to point B? I have to climb up here, I've got to climb over there, I've got to jump over here, and that Tomb Raider Uncharted obstacle course thing I've always enjoyed. Because it's like puzzle solving, you know? And then there are actual puzzle solving things in these games too, which is good. And then of course there's the shooting, which is, you know, whatever, it happens. The shooting isn't like great gameplay, but you know, it's still better than like beat-em-ups, which can take a long, long time. But yeah, so I'm enjoying Uncharted 2, and I'll probably keep playing that because I don't believe I'm going to get any games for Christmas, because, like I've said in previous episodes recently, after Spider-Man Miles Morales, I'm kind of waiting to play any newly released games until I get a PlayStation 5, which of course won't be until after Christmas, because you can't find it anywhere still. But I do want to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but I do kind of want to wait for that on PS5 so it looks even prettier. And then, of course, with everything going on with Cyberpunk 2077, like, no way would I try to play that on my PS4. Because it's apparently completely borked on the current gen consoles, and they're giving off refunds now because it's just that bad of a gameplay experience. So, I'm still intrigued by it, and I think that by the time I do get around to playing it, sometime like next summer, maybe, spring, they'll have fixed all of the glitches, and it will be a much more playable and enjoyable game, and I can play it on my PS5, and it'll look wonderful, and it'll be playable, which is even more important than how it looks. So, that's it. Come back next episode for my annual Christmas show, and I don't think I'm getting any games for Christmas, but who knows what I'm going to get for Christmas, because my husband won't tell me. So come back and find out. Bye!